Welcome to Fright Night. For real.
Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on a Sunday night, Sunday, and we're going to be having some fun as we continue and come close to the conclusion of the great debate for the Scream franchise. And of course, Eric's with me, and our great friend, our brother, Stephen from Craven Something Scary, the godfather of Woodsboro himself.
Thank you, my friend. Yes, thank you.
I just love saying that. They're just great. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta tell you, it's a special place in my heart when I hear it. I'm like, oh,
right. I love it. So guys, we were talking about this backstage, and it's been several weeks since our last episode in the series, so I'm glad that we could get this one in there. We've had a whole bunch of schedule changes, life stuff going on, and moving and dealing with the hot summer and all that type of stuff. So I'm glad that we could be here tonight and do it, because we're going to be talking about Scream from 1996, directed by the late great Wes Craven. And by the way, happy birthday for Wes Craven.
That's right.
The master himself. So it's kind of only fitting that we kind of do this, and I'm excited for you guys that are here. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate the support. We got Oliver in the house. Oliver was here ready to rock and roll. What's up, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, buddy. We got Jerry in the house. Super Tenor is in the house. RJ is in the house, and Paula. Hey guys, good to have you here.
You
guys were early, just waiting at the door. I love it. Let's see who else we got. Gory Tiger, we got Barb in the house, and here we go. Yeah, exactly. Good to have you here, Barb. Hope you're doing well. She said she thought of candy corn, thought of you when she passed candy corn. That's so funny that has lived on. I love that.
It has. I mean, that's my jam, candy corn, especially. And like I said in the chat, now, even especially around Halloween, because that's when Brock's it puts out the autumn mix.
That's right.
Remember that? Right. Get the pumpkins, the chocolate, and the regular candy corn, all three.
That's right.
So
you gotta love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a bag of that for Halloween. Gotcha.
That's so awesome, man. Let's see who else. We got Rachel in the house. What is up, Rachel? Saying morning all. Well, I guess good evening for most of you. Absolutely. And shout out to Rachel. Just being so awesome. We had our Rob Zombie discussion that has continued in sorts of ways. And a great job by Rachel, and much appreciated. We got some other things that we got brewing, so can't wait to see that. And she's also got a channel member anniversary for 20 months, the big 2-0. Love it. And I didn't look at their comment yet. I'm saying love it, love it. She's like, love this channel. We love you too, Rachel. We really do. Thank you so much for all that you do. Seriously. Okay. And we appreciate you guys also congratulating Rachel and each other. You guys are always really cool about that. Seriously, it's awesome. Scott, what's up, man? Good to have you here. And look who made it. Jen is here. All right.
Jen, all right.
You know, Jen messaged me on Instagram and was basically kind of bummed out because she didn't think she was
Yep.
going to make it tonight. And I told
Oh,
her, you know how it is, Steven, and you know it too, Eric. It's
I
like we were
do.
talking backstage about schedules and stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you know, I'm sorry that you can't make it, but we're gonna miss you. You know what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
so I'm glad you could make it, and I hope, you know, hope that everything went well tonight. I think she
Mhm.
said she was doing film class tonight, so that's really cool,
Oh, fun.
right? Yeah, man. We got connections in high places, fellas. Literally.
Yeah, we do. Destin's over. Destin's got 2 spots on
Yeah,
Landman this season, and one scene with Billy Bob Thornton, dude.
I know. I heard that. I was like, wow, this is crazy, man.
Isn't
It's
that
absolutely
crazy?
crazy. It
Yeah.
is. But definitely cool stuff to see, you know, everybody in the fam having some fun and doing different things. Seriously. Awesome stuff. And hey, we got Johnny, we got Atrol. What's up? Good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. And thanks, Scott. We appreciate it. We appreciate that a lot, man. And if you guys haven't seen our Halloween video talking about Laurie, I think you guys will really enjoy it. So thank you so much for saying that, Scott. And again, another shout out to Rachel for doing a fantastic job. Seriously. And we I just looked at this. Steven, come on, man. Steven's
Hey, I got to plant the seed here, man. You know, got to start off right.
thanks. Seriously. Steven gifting membership. That is too kind of you, man. Thank you so much. Seriously.
You're welcome, brother.
We appreciate that, man. Seriously. Oh my gosh. Looks like Jace got it. So welcome to the fam, and definitely give some love to our brother Steven, who is absolutely gracious. All right. Let's see. And I think I've caught up to everyone. So we are going to be doing our great debate for Scream 96. And the way we do this, if you guys haven't seen our other episodes, first of all, check those out. We have a playlist called The Great Movie Debates, where we've already gone through the entire Halloween franchise and the Elm Street franchise, and it's been absolutely fun. We are scoring each film in these franchises based upon categories that are randomly picked by the wheel. 10 scored categories, and they are all random. That's the fun part about it, because we have no idea you know, what's going to be coming up. So just to give you guys an idea of the possible categories that we have for tonight, we have 2 talking points that will not be scored, and that is the best scene in the film and also the worst scene. If the wheel lands on either of those 2 or both of them, they will not be scored, but we will tell you guys what we think. But for scored categories, we have possibly the story, the kills in the film, the opening scene, the cinematography, the reveal, which is a new category, obviously dedicated to the Scream franchise. We have directing, Ghostface himself or herself, the characters, the mystery factor, and we also have the motive, another new category we have here, the final girl, and of course, as always, the it factor. Okay, so those are the possible categories that the wheel will pick. And the scoring is very simple, so I'll explain it to you guys. It's 1 to 5. 1 being absolutely horrible, and 5 being masterful. Now, we can also use 0.5s in the scoring. So in other words, we can do 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5. We can't do anything less than a 1 or anything more than a 5. Okay. So that's the fun of it all. Okay, so let's bring up the wheel and we will get this party started officially. All right, so let's bring it up.
All
And
right.
Eric, you'll be
Mhm.
going first,
Okay.
and then Steven, and then myself giving our scores. So there we have the wheel. I'm going to spin it, and then we're going to see what category it lands on randomly. Okay, here we go. First category, and I am keeping track of the scores as I always do. Aha. There we
Wow.
are.
Right
We're
out the bat.
we- Ain't that the truth? We're starting off with with Ghostface. So, Eric, when we think about Ghostface as portrayed in this movie only, what
Mhm.
is the score that you would give Ghostface?
Now, obviously, this is pre-reveal Ghostface.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, it's a very strong Ghostface compared to a lot of the sequels, in my opinion. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Okay.
Menacing, scary. The only things I could nitpick on is certain things like it's out in the middle of the day in a convenience store in the costume and stuff like that, which to me makes no sense. You know what I mean? If you don't know who Ghostface is, you don't have to be in the costume type of thing. So that would
Yeah, yeah.
knock it a little bit, but again, that's a nitpick. So I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Okay, all righty. And as always, you guys in the chat definitely give us your scores as well. We can't get to all of them, but we will try to get to as many as we can. If you do send in a super chat, we will make sure we get to whatever the score is you give, your comment, or if you have a question that pertains to what we're doing tonight. So, and of course, it helps to support us. We appreciate that as well. Steven, when we talk about Ghostface, what's the score that you want to give?
I mean, I have to go with a 5 out of 5 for this one. They right out of the gate, we got a great ghost face, and and of course, as we know, because we're talking spoilers, obviously, right?
Oh,
At this
yeah.
point, not yet. So what we later find out to be ghost faces, which then, and I noticed Eric did mention pre-reveal, which is a good that's a good factor to keep in mind.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I thought Ghostface was fantastic. I thought everything, the wiping of the blood off with the glove, just all of that about Ghostface was amazing. This was clearly someone determined on a mission, and they did it with a little flair. Like I said, wiping the blood, extra things like that
Mhm.
didn't have to be done there. So
Right.
I'm going to start with a 5 out of 5. I think that was the bar for all the rest of them to come.
Okay. All righty. For me, this is an interesting one, because of course, I think that being the first film, you definitely go into it not knowing what to expect. I think there were a lot of great scenes, obviously. Um Eric mentioning in the daytime. That was great. As soon as you said that, I like saw the scene in my head. That notwithstanding, there's so many cool moments. And I think another thing about Ghostface before I give my score is that there was a sense of like menace. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
this, and again, we're not talking about the other films, but just to be honest about it, there were other films where I felt as though there wasn't as much of that menace, to Ghostface, but I definitely felt it here. I gotta be honest, I'm gonna go 5 out of 5 as well, man. I think that everything was great. They had moments where there was scare factor and there was intensity.
Mhm.
And we're not even really talking about Roger's performance, which is immaculate as always. So I got to
Oh,
go 5
yeah.
out of 5, man.
Yeah, and I just want to
Okay.
make one quick comment, Knight, before we move, if it's okay,
Hmm.
regarding the grocery store scene and the scene at Casey's house, or not Casey, but Tatum's house and Dewey's house.
Hmm.
I I get where you're coming from, Eric. First of all, I
Mhm.
do get that. I think personally, this is my opinion. I think that was more for the audience to see that
Hmm.
he is lurking. He's lurking even where safe places where you think you're safe during the day outside on your front porch,
Right.
in a grocery store. I just think I always thought of that more as he's telling Kevin, or I mean, yeah, Kevin are telling us he's showing us in a way that he's always there. He's watching you. He's kind of like a cat is just slowly watching the mouse. So anyway, just my thoughts. That's all. I mean,
yeah, and I get that, but I think it could have been more effective if they were at their home or at like somewhere where it was just them instead of a crowded area where people just walk in.
Oh, the grocery store.
They would be wondering who the hell is this dude just standing there in this costume, while I'm getting my milk and stuff like that. So
I got you. All right.
In the chat, and we've got a few 5s, but Jen's coming in hot, saying pre-reveal. I would say 4, clumsy, and goofy. There you go. There you go. Gene's in the house too. Good to see you, Gene. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, Gene.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. Seriously, and we've got a couple other channel anniversaries real quick to get to. If StreamYard will let me scroll back up, which. One of these days, I got to see if I can get in touch with them and see about that because it's really difficult. Oliver, thank you as well for gifting a membership. We've got another membership gifted tonight. Very kind of you, Oliver. We appreciate that. It definitely helps us out and lets us do streams like this tonight, no matter what. Schedules be damned. Jerry had a channel member anniversary. I can't pull it back up. But Jerry, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for all of your support. And also, almost as important, just the positivity that you bring to the community. We really appreciate that, man. All right. And Ty, going with was that a 4? Yeah, 4 out of 5. Okay. Good to see you, Ty and Melissa. All right, guys. Let's go to our next category and see what gets picked randomly. Ooh. Okay. The it factor. Now, Eric, when we talk about the it factor, we're talking about, the entertainment of the film, the rewatchability, those types of things is what I would consider the it factor. For you, what would you give the score for the it factor?
Now, again, this is for me, and we all know my overall feelings on the franchise. But this is one of my favorite ones of that franchise. I'm going to give it a solid 4. Okay. I think it. I know I'm not going to get too into the reasons why because there are other categories which will help with the score and explain it. But it starts off great. It ends really good. There's some stuff in the middle that I'm not huge fans of. Huge fan of, which would take my attention away from the film and some of my enjoyability. Like I said, I'm trying to keep it as vague as possible in case we get to those categories. But I think a solid 4 for this one would be fair for me.
Okay. All right. Steven, what are you thinking for the it factor?
I mean, for me, it has to be 5 because I think this is probably the most rewatchable movie I have of all of my movies that I watch. I could literally watch it, just put it on the background and loop it for a whole day. And just listening to it while I'm doing stuff. It's just phenomenal rewatchability. And there's other movies I have too. I'm not being a homer here, guys. I'm being honest. There are the movies I would rank 5 outside of horror even. But this is absolutely a 5 for rewatchability. I can't imagine a movie being more rewatchable for me. That's just my opinion because I love it so much. I love this movie so much. Yeah.
All right. For me, when I think about all of the different factors, how much I enjoy it, how much I've watched it over the years, the entertaining value of it, the enjoyment, all of those things, rewatchability. I got to admit, guys, I'm going to go with a 5 as well. This film, and again, we're not talking about the other films, but I'm just putting it out there because we have gone through the other 5 films. This film is still the best. It's still the best. I mean, after all of this time, and you know what? And I spoke about this a little bit, in a couple other videos. Ironically enough, when we were talking about Halloween, and also when I was talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer, which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen those episodes, check those out for the Why You Hate. But the thing that was so cool about this film is that it was operating on all cylinders for me. You know what I'm saying? Like it had a little bit of everything. You know, you had fun, you had terror, you had tension, you had, you know, these moments that just stick out of your mind that were fresh and innovative and unique. And you know, all franchises do this, but
Mhm.
this franchise has been chasing that for all of these years and all these sequels later, you know, and they still can't reach it. They've come close, and I won't
Yep.
get into that, but they still can't reach it on all cylinders. So
Mm.
this is definitely a special movie. There's a reason
Yeah.
why it reinvigorated and in a way saved the
Mm-hmm.
slasher subgenre. So
Did.
I'm going with the 5.
It was lightning in a bottle, period.
Mm,
It was just everything worked together. Casting, I mean, just the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's why it's so hard to get there again. That perfect lightning in a bottle where it all just collectively worked.
Right.
It's so hard to do that for a movie.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Ty saying Scream has many imitators for a reason. It's so true.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, even still to this day, this year, having films, you know, it's just,
Mhm.
it is what it is, you know, it is
Yep.
what it is. Okay, guys, we've got 2 categories down, 8 more to score. Let's see what we get next on the wheel. Ooh, boy. There it is. There it is. Characters.
Ah.
Now, what's interesting too about the wheel being random
Mhm.
is for all of these films, you know, there are some categories that can be an advantage or a disadvantage for said movie. So this is what makes it so interesting. But for characters, Eric, where are we going for the score on that?
This was going to be the tough one for me. I'm going to give it a 3, and the reason why is the characters that I like, I really like. Characters I don't like at all. And taste change as I've gotten older. You know, when I first saw this, I was still in high school, and I liked a lot of the characters, and I just changed with my taste. Like, I like Sidney. Tatum is a lot of fun. You know what I mean? I even like is it Kenny the cameraman?
Yeah.
Gail. She does her job. You know, she is that reporter that will do anything to get the story. Now, on the other hand, I'm not a big fan of Randy anymore. You know, and I kind of find him a little eye rolling with all the rules and just the way he acts. You guys know I love you both to death. You know I'm not a fan of Stu and the overacting. I find him kind of obnoxious. I loved him when I was younger. It's just tastes have changed. I'm not a big fan of him. Billy is. I never liked Billy from the very beginning. You know, comparing his love life to The Exorcist and stuff like that. It's just. I'm trying to be as fair but as honest as possible. Like I said, when I like him, I like it. And I'm not a fan of Dewey until Scream 5 because, you know, my feeling on cops that don't seem to be very bright. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, a disservice to David Arquette. And me and you, Knight, have talked about that before. The man can act. There's a reason why there is a doofy in scary movies because they're poking fun at Dewey's character in this. And it's just, I wish he was given a little bit more credit character-wise when it came to how he acted and how he came off. He just came off too goofy for me. So I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay, man. Let me ask you this too, Eric, because we haven't had a chance to talk about this in a stream in a while, actually. But you know, we've talked to each other. But do you think that Scream, you know, as far as its vibe of having that meta vibe and kind of its viewpoint on horror and the tropes and kind of poking fun at that, do you think? And maybe you could answer this in 2 ways, your own personal viewpoint and horror's viewpoint. But do you think that vibe did a service to it or a disservice? In other words, would you have wanted it to be more serious? And if so, would that have made it better?
Now, are we talking about the franchise in general or just this one particular movie?
This one movie.
I think the meta stuff, I think, is not a disservice to it. I like that because, you know, that's the point of the movie. They're reaching from this to making the rules. I don't mind that. As it goes along, as the franchise goes along, I do think it's overkill. But again, that's also the point of the franchise. You know, they're taking
Right.
rules from here and there. Again, it's just, I understand they're trying to also mix a little bit of comedy with it, and I just think that it falls flat. You know what I mean? And again, just personal opinion. I think a lot of the performances are a little too over the top for me. And I think it does a disservice. But you know me, I've said it before. If I'm following these characters for 90 minutes and I'm eye rolling within 20, I don't care about them as much anymore, or I want them gone.
Right.
And that's how I felt about a lot of them. And again, with the Dewey character, like he doesn't even get respect from his sister in front of his coworkers. You know what I mean? And that just shows, like, you know, again, it's something like he's not a strong character, in my opinion, until maybe the end of the movie when he finally gets a little bit of confidence and tries to hook up with Gail. But I think it's too little too late for him, for me, concerning that stuff. You know, the first time we see him, you know, he's a scaredy cat. You know, he gets scared by, you know, Neve running out. And I get it. It's a jump scare to him. But I that's just something I just never really cared for.
All right. Okay. And also in the chat, I love this one. Barbara saying the cop taking Billy away from the house cracks me up to this day. Sydney. Yeah.
Sidney.
I know, right? Yeah, Sydney. Steven, how about you, man? What are you thinking for a score for the characters of Scream?
Oh man, well, you know, I do love these characters personally.
Mhm.
I connected with each of them in different ways. And you know, I saw this movie. Yeah, I don't remember. I was in my mid-20s, somewhere around there. Yeah, mid-20s. And even then, I connected with them. Here I am, Old Man River, and still connect with those characters after that first time in the theater. Now, you know, it's I hate to give a 5. I think I probably won't give a 5, only because I wish we had more time with Tatum. You know, even though she made it to the third act, but and believe it or not, I wish we had more time with Stu. He was on there quite a bit. He was, but I love, I love the character, and yeah, he's I just consider, overall, Gail was great. Kenny, I love Kenny. As I go through the roster, I'm thinking, like, is there anybody that I really don't like in this lineup? I mean, Principal Henry, come on. The Fonz, man. I love that Henry Winkler was in this movie. I think it was cool.
Yeah.
You know, what you guys know, I love this movie, so it shouldn't be a surprise. But I will say, if I had to pick 2 characters that I don't like, it's the kids that were playing the prank on Sidney in the bathroom with the Ghostface attack, try to get her, and then Principal Henry has them in the room there in his principal's office.
Yep.
He's like, "Come on, that's not fair." I'm like, "Dude, you don't mess with Sidney Prescott, bro. You don't mess with him." So those 2 I'm not a fan of, but everyone else I really enjoyed. So I'm gonna give this a 4.5.
Okay.
Because,
all right.
yeah, because I wanted more time with some of them.
Yeah. It's so funny that you said it like that, because I was thinking a little bit of what you were saying. And real quick too, Jen was saying the first time I watched it, I hated Stu. He obviously grew on me. Yeah, I hear
Yes,
you.
that's true.
That's interesting. Yeah. And also just to say goodnight to Rachel, she's heading on out, or I should say good morning to Rachel. We've got Mary in the house, and we also got Kelly. Glad to have you guys here. But for me, I would say, I enjoyed pretty much all the characters. I can't think of any particular character that I didn't enjoy. There were, some eye rolling moments, kind of like here and there, like what Barb was saying earlier. Not many at all that I can think of. And of course that played into some of the semi camp that they had going on in the film. But Stephen, as soon as you said Tatum, and look, and I love Rose McGowan, and I might have the chance. We're talking bucket list type of stuff. I might have the chance in about a month or so to get a chance to meet her. So,
Nice.
I'm on board. But I do agree that it's too bad we didn't get more of her, because I felt like I felt like not so much that they were setting her up to have more, to do, but it's Rose McGowan. I mean, and this film, when you really step back and look at it, has a ton of characters, some really good characters, strong characters. It's amazing that they were able to balance it as well as they did. But when you have that many characters, there's some that just aren't around as much. And as much as that scene, with Tatum getting killed, was, had some great moments, I was also kind of like, oh man, don't do that. And so for me, I echo that part of what you were saying, Steven, and I'm going to go with a 4.5 as well. I think that, everybody was pretty good. I can't really think of anyone that I didn't like. It's really just a question of, I just wish we could have had a little bit more here and there, kind of like what we've said about Scream 5 specifically, and even 6. Give us another 10 minutes, maybe 15, but at least 10, and you could just, divvy out a little bit more, maybe one more scene. But I know ultimately Wes, being the master and trying to make sure that the pace is great.
It is great.
So it's tough, right? It's like, what are you going to do? You're going to have great pace and cut back a little bit on some characters, or are you going to flesh them out a little bit more and maybe suffer the pace? It's tough, but still great stuff. And I'm going to go with a 4.5. Okay. All right. Real quick too, I just want to catch up. And Kelly also has a channel member anniversary, and you're going to love this. This is really cool. 2 months. And Kelly, we appreciate all of your support and positivity. And I was just speaking with her the other day. We just really enjoy that, and it makes the community, the family, just so much better. It really, really does. She says, let's see, I'm gonna pull this up. Hey everyone. Hope I haven't missed a ton. I'm back to my old ways, fashionably late. So thankful that I am the Night Watch. There you go. Thank you so much. Seriously, we appreciate you, Kelly. Thank you for being here. And we also have a super chat coming in. A-Troll coming in. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate that. James Drew Courtney was great. Hey, well, thank you. We appreciate that, man. Seriously,
it was awesome,
dude. That's just one of those things. Just I'll never forget it. Never ever. It was just still seems like it was absolutely crazy. A-Troll, thank you so much for the super chat, man. We appreciate that. It helps us out so very much. And let's do a super chat clip for our super chat of the night, just to give you some appreciation. And Eric, sometimes when you think that you know what's going to happen, you could be mistaken, and this could be the reason why.
Wow.
Drop my phone.
There we go.
Oh my gosh.
I was waiting for something.
Eric,
Exactly.
Eric was sitting there just shaking his head. Oh, I love it. I love it. These are the special moments. What's up, Jose? Jose's in the chat too. Good to have all of you guys here. If you haven't hit the like button, by the way, please hit the like button. It helps to support us. We'd appreciate it. Kelly said, I don't like the fact that they let Dewey be okay with chaperoning a party where there was underage drinking with a serial killer on the loose. It's a good point. Good point. He was infatuated with Gail, I guess. He was busy.
He was very busy with it in his head on one goal.
That's right. Hey, he was already light years ahead of the guy in society. I'll give him that. He knew what was going on.
Yes,
hey, Eric, you got to give him credit, man. He did better than the guy in society. He saw an
That's
opportunity.
not saying much. You know what I mean? At least they didn't give him bells and whistles like the cops in Halloween 5. I'll give him that.
Oh no!
You're always ready for a comeback. That was great. All right. All right.
I'll never really understand the clown sounds.
Bro,
I just don't get it.
All I can say is I've got something coming up, man, and this is gonna be some clown sounds. That's all I'm saying to
Oh
tease it up.
yeah.
But yeah, you gotta love it. All right, let's go to our next category. Let's see what the wheel chooses for us next. Ooh, boy. Whoa. All right. The reveal. The
Ooh.
reveal. So, Eric, again, let's start off with you. What do you think about the reveal? I mean, obviously, we're talking about the reveal of Billy and Stu, that whole scene. I mean, we're talking about a couple minutes worth in a way because there's multiple fake outs with this thing. So, what are you thinking for a score?
I mean, I'll give it a 4.5. The reveal with Billy was really well done because we had the fake out earlier. You know what I mean? Even though he's a psychopath from the very first time we see him on screen, it was a good fake out. So that reveal did get me. The reveal with Stu was well done when he's got the voice box or whatever we want to call it, the voice changer, the surprise Sidney. That came off really creepy. So that was a good scene with Stu. I'm not gonna just trash Stu, just because I gave a low score with characters. He did do some good things. So I think it was a very, very strong reveal. And the fake out with them making it seem like Billy was killed earlier was really well done.
Yeah.
So I gotta give it. I'll give it a 4.5.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Steven, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I'm with Eric. Although I am going to give it a 5 because two things. Number one, he mentioned already was the fake out with Billy when he was stabbed upstairs. I'm like, okay, that's it. In fact, when I was in the theater, I'm like, oh gosh, now who is it? Because I said, oh, it's Billy, and they want us to. That's what they want us to think it's Billy the whole movie. That's never a surprise.
Right.
They're showing us it's Billy because the big surprise was the reveal of Stu, which I was never expecting two people either. I went to that. I'd never seen two people my entire slasher watching days that I had seen. So I was shocked 2 times. The reveal of Billy and then turn around and see Stu, and my mind was blown that there were 2 killers. And then I'm like, this is incredible. I'm like, I got to go tell everybody I know. And then you got to go watch this movie. You got to see something different. This is original. This is unique.
Right.
And then the entire kitchen scene from that is amazing. It's masterpiece level in the kitchen to me. All the way from the stabbing each other, the whole thing. So I may be jumping ahead. I'm sorry, Knight, if I did.
No, that's all right.
But for the reveal, 5 out of 5. I've yet to see one match it for me personally, although Scream 4 is very close to the first one in terms of the reveal.
Yeah.
The Jill reveal.
I agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. As a matter of fact, I can't remember if we had the reveal category for Scream 4. I'm going to have to take a look at that. Yeah. Anyone in the chat, if anyone knows that, which I'm sure nobody does offhand, but yeah, that would be some great trivia because I don't know if we got the reveal in the Scream 4 Great Debate episode, but I'm going to check that out in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, well said, Stephen. Absolutely. Kelly is going with 4.5 on the reveal. I think Billy was obvious, even with the fake outs, given he was comparing everything to the movies. I didn't see Stu coming at all. Well, what's interesting to me is that you're right. They wanted us to be focused on Billy, so much. And there's multiple times, and we've talked about this before too. There's multiple twists, like if you count up all the twists in the film, because Billy goes back and forth story-wise a couple of times as far as, dude, he's got to be the killer. And then he's like, maybe not. Oh, no, he is. Oh, maybe not. So when you have the fake kill at the end, it's kind of like, well, damn. Because, think about this, guys. In 96, it's long ago now, but even back then, there were tons of slashers before Scream. Tons. And I've watched a lot of them, especially from the 80s. So for, Kevin and Wes to set up this reveal and multi-twist scenario and execute it. That's the thing. You got to execute it well.
Yes.
It's absolutely crazy because after the fake death, I'm thinking, man, it's over. And then of course it's like, oh no, he is, revealing he is. And you're so wrapped up in that.
Yeah.
You're so wrapped up in that moment that you're like, I knew it was him. I knew it was him. And then you're thinking to yourself, she's got to get out of there. Hey, Stu will help you. No, he's not, because that whole movie, and Eric, this is one of the things I think too that was masterful for Matthew. He was over the top and so crazy, happy-go-lucky, likable, the party guy, come to my house and all that type of stuff. But it was like the wolf in sheep's clothing. You see what I'm saying? Because you had to either like him or think he was an idiot. You never really would think he'd be Ghostface. At least most of us. I'm sure there's some people out there like, I knew he was from the beginning. No, you didn't, but you could say you did.
Exactly.
But anyways, I'm ranting. The reveal for me is a 5.
It's true.
It's masterful because you're getting multiple things at once, and the timing is so important. The characters and the performance are so important, and the way that Wes was able to tie it all together, it's crazy. It's really
amazing.
crazy.
I like what you mentioned, Knight. Stu kind of disarms you from taking him serious.
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah, absolutely.
in that way. Yeah, he's just like you say, he's just a goofball.
Yeah.
Fun guy, and actually, he's very sinister. He's a psychopath.
Yeah.
And he was just incredible. That's a good point. Glad you brought that up, man. I didn't think about that point.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, guys. And Super Tenor is saying, I wish I could just enjoy the stream, but I don't want to work tomorrow. 10 to 13 more years of toiling for chump change. Oh man, I tell you what, I'd fight 10 ghost faces for the chance to retire. There you go, man. There you go. True. I feel you, buddy. We also have Danielle in the house. Stu is the only real slasher in the whole franchise. Well, there you go.
All right.
I'm glad you're here tonight, Danielle. Hope you're enjoying this conversation. I know you're a big fan of the franchise. Johnny's coming in with a super chat.
Hey, Johnny.
Yeah. Saying when you rewatch, you see little details like Billy giving a little nod to Stu after he has killed Tatum in the garage. It was so well done. He gave a nod even when they were sitting out, in the beginning of the film.
Right? Yeah.
Right, the fountain. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep. I mean, that's the cool thing too about this film. There's so many, well, I won't get too far ahead in possible categories, but so many things are well done that you can rewatch this film and pick up so much more even after years of watching it. So
that's right.
All right.
The famous line Billy said when Stu's like, no, I didn't kill anybody. Billy's like, nobody says you did. And then he gave me that look. It's like, dang.
Right? Somebody's in trouble. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Let's see what we have as our next category on the wheel. Oh. It's staying there. Motive. All right. This should be interesting. Eric, what do you think about the motive? What's the score you want to give it?
I'll give it a 4. I've always liked the broken home type of motive when it comes to a villain. I've always, even like, Michael Myers with the remakes and numerous other horror movies that we've seen. And you buy it with Billy when he is just, he's face to face with Sidney and he's trash talking Sidney's mom. You know what I mean? So you buy that he is all for the motive. This is 100% the reasoning. Stu is just a psychopath. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. He doesn't really have a motive. He says peer pressure, but that's just him being goofy and silly. So he's just nuts. I think the real motive is Billy's motive, and I think it does work. And again, regardless of what I've said earlier, it does work in that moment when it's being told to Sidney why. You know what I mean? Causing the affair, causing his mom to leave the family and all that stuff. So I definitely believed it. So I'll give it a 4.
Okay. All right. Steven, what do you think?
I'm going to give the motive 4.5. I think I think it is a good, solid motive. And as Eric mentioned, the way he's talking about her mother, you feel the anger and the
Mhm.
rage of her leaving the family. And remember, that was a year before.
Right.
So he has had this anger and um, all of this, storm within him for a whole year. He's been waiting for this night on this anniversary and dating her daughter so she to take it out on the whole family. You took
Mhm.
my mom, I'm going to take the daughter. And it was great. I thought it was excellent motive. It was, it felt very real, and I connected and I understood it. Like,
Mhm.
I get it. Like I said, I get why this happened, even though he's obviously a psychopath.
Right.
But still, that motive drove him to insanity almost. You could almost say. And yeah, so I give 4.5. Mhm.
Okay. All right. And real quick too in the chat, just to catch up with these guys before I give my score. Paula saying Stu's reveal was surprising but not shocking. Ooh, okay.
Hmm.
Very, very cool. We got Super Tenor coming in with a super chat. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, brother. Saying I need some cheese with my wine night. Laugh
Mhm.
out loud. It's okay, man. I know what you mean, man. Work can be something. There's no
Yep.
doubt about that whatsoever. So, but much love, man. Much love. And real quick, too, let's see who else we've got in here as I scroll through. Again, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps to support us. We've got Kyle in the chat. Kyle Miller saying, hey, guys, from Newfoundland, Canada. Wow. Hey, cool, man.
Nice.
Huge horror and Scream fan. Well, hey, welcome to the chat, and we hope that you're enjoying the conversation. And definitely, if you're interested in horror and Scream, you've definitely come to the right place. You've got the right people on the panel. Thank you for being here. Let's see who else. We've got some more scores coming in. Kelly's going with a 4.25 on the motive. And out. I'll put it to 2. I'll put it to 4.5 for you, Kelly, because we've only got 0.5s. But saying, I think the motive justifies Maureen being unalive, the other people getting poked or just because they liked it. There you go. Oh, that was interesting.
Hmm.
That's very well said. Okay. For me, I think for the motive, I mean, we've seen this type of thing before, and that's not a knock against it. But motive might be one of the few things that is kind of normal about this film, as far as we've seen that done before in other films. I think I'll go with a 4 as well on it. I don't have any issue with it. I think it's pretty good. I will give a lot of credit though, and you guys mentioned it. Skeet, as he's explaining it, I
Mhm.
thought he did some great stuff with his performance as the character. Like, you really believed him. He was Billy Loomis. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that made for a really good scene, a lot of tension and intensity right at that
Hmm.
moment. So good shout out to Skeet. And by the way, I might be able to meet Skeet as well
Mm.
with Rose
Oh,
McGowan. And listen, guys, I don't want to jump. Okay, let me just say it. I don't want to jump ahead. This is a live stream, so sometimes we can just rant. But and I'm gonna make this announcement of officially, but uh, possibly getting to meet Skeet, Rose,
mm.
um, Matthew again. We were really lucky to meet him once. But also, and Eric, I know you'll dig this one, Barbara Crampton.
Mm.
And if
Mm.
you have been around this channel long enough, you guys know she's pretty much near the top of the list. And yeah,
Yeah.
it could be a really cool time. So hopefully that'll happen. Fingers are crossed. But I'll give some updates and let you
Yeah.
guys know and have some fun, just like we did at our other con. That was basically an Elm Street reunion where
Mhm.
we met Robert Englund, guys. I mean, does it really get any bigger than that? It was just amazing. But we were lucky to stream from the con, which was really
Hmm.
cool. And so we're hoping to do the same thing. So we'll see.
Very cool.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, just inch by inch, man, on that bucket list, it's just crazy.
Yeah, man.
All right. Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay. Well, let's see what we get for our next category on the wheel. We've got 5 down. We got 5 to go. Ooh boy, there it is. There it is. The final girl, who at this point will not be at that con with Skeet, Rose, and Matthew. Which, dude, I was so hoping, because I almost got a chance to meet her a couple years ago, and her schedule changed. So she's on that list as well. But when we talk about Neve as the final girl, Sidney Prescott, Eric, what's the score you want to give her for Scream '96?
I'll give her 4.5. She starts off, cute, sweet, innocent. And she's just, wondering, why is this happening to her? And she's making all the mistakes, running up the stairs that we know. And then by the end of it, she does take charge. She is going full force against these two guys, these two psychopaths. And I think she does a real good job of being, and I don't want to say weak, but again, she's very meek is like the better choice. Like in the very beginning, like I said, quiet, soft-spoken, and it's a complete 180 in attitude and the way she is character-wise. By the end of it, she has grown a lot stronger because of what she's been put through. And I buy it in Neve's performance. I think she does a really good job. So I think in this one, Sidney gets a 4.5.
Okay. And Barb is saying, nice night. Just saw Barbara Crampton this weekend. She's great with the fans. She is really good with the fans. And I am so jealous. But I'm happy for you, Barb, because I know you enjoy the cons. Hopefully I get a chance as well. We'll see. Fingers are crossed. We're probably an 85% chance it's going to happen. So we're
that's pretty high.
It is pretty high, bro. But you know me, I'm always waiting for, the other dime to drop. So we'll see. But thank you for that, Barb. Steven, when we talk about Neve, what do you think, man? Where are we going with it?
She's such a good final girl. She's a 5 for me, and a lot of the reasons Eric mentioned, because you see her from the beginning as this just quiet high school kid. She's just, very sheltered. You could tell, very wealthy family, obviously. Her father's home where they're living, that's not chump change to live in that place right there.
Right.
So she's probably been real kind of sheltered, and obviously not with her mom passing. That's not being sheltered. She had to deal with the trauma of that, and still is at this point. Remember, it's only been a year. So all that in mind, seeing her come from an innocence, almost somewhat innocence, to coming face to face with the violence. She's never had that happen. Right. So I think you see her grow in the course of, hour and 50 minutes or whatever. You see her grow quite a bit. And we're, like you say, we're at the end, man. She has had enough. She's had enough of it. And maybe, she even tells him, take some responsibility. I mean, she's like done with it at this point. Whether she lives or dies, she's going out fighting. And that's what she did. So I think it's a great example of writing, character building, story arc, and of course, as the franchise goes, the arc just continues to grow for her amazingly, in my opinion. So 5 for me. I'm gonna go a little bit higher than Eric. I'm gonna go 5.
Okay. For me, and you guys have obviously already said it, so I won't. Well, I'll try not to rehash it. It's such a, these are emotional conversations because we're talking about, some of the most favorite horror movies that we have. But as a final girl, I mean, she did it all. I mean, like you guys said, I mean, what an arc to actually see a character go from point A to point B to point C in one movie. And it was really well done. And there's a certain amount of nuance to the way that Neve portrayed Sidney Prescott. And that's no knock against other great final girls, whether it's Ready or Not or You're Next or It Follows. These are great horror movies. You guys, if you've been here long enough, I love those movies and I love those actresses and those characters, those final girls. But the thing about Sidney is, and you know I'm always going to do these types of things. When you think of final girls that came before her, whether it was Nancy Thompson or Jenny or even Laurie Strode, it was almost like Neve had a little bit of all of those great final girls. You know, she was meek, she was kind, she was smart, and
Yeah.
she was dealing with stuff, and she learned how to become stronger. And like you said at the end, Steven, she was pretty much like, I'm done with you guys, you know,
Hmm.
whatever. You know, I've already had, you know, horrible moments in my life. If this is it, then, you know, whatever, you know.
Yep.
um and we get to see that in one movie. We're not even talking about, you know, the
Hmm.
next couple of sequels where they take her character even further. So I do think that she's a fantastic final girl. There's a reason why so many horror fans love her and this character. So I got to go with a 5 as well. You know, when I talk about final girls, she's always right there, you know, either one or two, and sometimes it's a
Hmm.
0.5 between them, and you guys know who the other person is. But she's amazing, and a really good example of a well-balanced, well-rounded final girl too. You know what I'm saying? Like, she wasn't too meek, but she didn't come off as, and I don't want to say fake tough, but you
Hmm.
guys get what I'm saying? Like, she dealt with tragedy, and she reacted to it like a real person. You know, I know it's a
That's
movie,
right.
but it felt like it was a real person. So I got to give her a lot of credit, and I'm going to go with a 5. Okay. Let's see what we got going on in the chat as well. Kelly's going with a 5. She's everything a final girl should be: innocent but still tough and gritty. She is the GOAT. Johnny saying she goes from being scared of the Ghostface costume in school to wearing it at the end. Yeah,
That's
right.
right.
You know, definitely taking it on right there. You know, I agree with
Hmm.
that. Good point. Let's see. We've got a couple other 5s. We got RJ going with a 5. I love Sidney Prescott. Yeah. Barb also going with a 5. You know, again, she's just one of those fantastic characters. So got to give her credit. Okay. Let's see what we have for our next category, guys. We're almost there. We've got 4 categories left to see what the final score will be for Scream 96. And it goes to story. Okay, Eric, when we talk about overall the story, what are you thinking, man?
Now, like, as much as like I said, I have done some negative stuff. You know, I can't deny that the story is a 5 out of 5 from beginning to end. You know what I mean? Because of the little stuff like you guys have talked about that goes into it that you can only really see on a second viewing. You know, the
Mhm.
two guys nodding to each other at the
Hmm.
party, or stuff like that. That a lot of effort was put into it, and it flows great. There is no lag. The characters are very likable for the most part. It broke new ground. You know, you got to give it points for that, no matter what. You guys can,
Hmm.
what people say about the final product, it broke new ground. It really did. It helped revive horror, so it has to get points for that. And it just, again, it flows so well. It's so new. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's definitely a 5 and well deserved.
Oh, all right.
Hmm.
Steven, what are you thinking for story?
Yeah, I echo everything Eric just said completely. And yeah, there's not much more to add for me, to be honest with you. Of course, I could dig into it, but I don't think I need to. I think we all get it. And it was, and I said lightning in a bottle earlier, but you know what? That's not giving it enough credit
Mm,
because this was written by Kevin. Wes took these words on a page and created this visual world we see in this movie. And I mean, I can't think of how he could have done it better.
mhm,
It's just so amazing. And the fact that, as Eric pointed out already, and you did earlier, the fact that it really revolutionized horror. This was the third time in Wes's career that he was a game changing franchise in horror or game changing film. Last House on the Left, New Nightmare on Elm Street, and now, of course, Scream, which, like you said, to this day, Hard Eyes, Thanksgiving, all these new ones, they all can take their hats off. They're standing on the shoulders of Scream,
mhm,
even there 20, 30 years later. And
mhm.
that says a lot. So
Yep.
100% a 5. It's just incredible. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well said. And I echo this as well. It's got to be a 5. You know, again, this movie has, it's just such, it's such an intelligent film. You know, I mean, when you really sit back and think about it, you know, just everything about it, and making a movie, as we know, and the three of us being content creators and you guys watching, you know, putting a film together isn't easy, you know, and even some really good films and even some of the great films don't operate on all cylinders, you know, and this film is able to do a lot with so many moving parts, so many characters, all these fantastic actors and actresses, and somehow they make it work. You know, like you said, Eric, there's no lag. It just, you know, it's just boom, it's going, it's going. Next thing you know, we got the reveal, and you think, wow, that flew by pretty quick. This was a fun ride. You know, some people, you know, I've heard some criticism of, well, you know, Scream isn't scary or this or that. You know, I've always thought to myself, you know, for a horror film, you know, it isn't just about being scary. And of course, that is very, you know, everyone's different about what is scary. But one thing that can't be denied is that this film does a great job with so many different facets. I mean, it just works. So the story specifically on this category, I just think it's great. It really is. And a tip of the hat to Kevin and obviously for Wes to tying the bow around it, because there's so many places where this thing could have fallen off the cliff. You know, it really could have. So great job. It's a great job. Real quick too, in the chat, we got Samantha. Hey, Samantha, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thanking whoever gifted me a membership. All right. Well, I think that was, it might have been Steven or it could have been Oliver.
Well, mine was someone else. I don't remember. But yeah, anyway, yeah, it was, yeah, or Jen. It could have been Jen.
Okay. Yeah. And
Jen gifted.
And thank you guys for all the gifting. Seriously, you know, Oliver, Jen, I think Jerry did too. You, Steven, you know, all of you guys. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Bringing folks into the fold.
That's right.
It's just awesome. Seriously. Jen is going with a 5. She's not playing around. Danielle also coming in. I believe hers is a 5 too. Let me just pull it up here. Saying story is a 5. There you go. Believable backstory and current plot line. All right. Paul is saying that it was easy to follow. She's going with a 5. That's a good point. It is very easy to follow. And I don't want to jump ahead to another category, but with all the things going on and what they're trying to accomplish, it's easy to follow.
Yeah,
You don't have a
is.
moment in the film where you're shaking your head and wondering, why the hell did they do that? You know, it's a good point. Good point. Barb saying, I love that it revived horror. True.
Yep.
All right. Let's see what we get for our next category. RJ also going with a 5. Okay, guys, we've got a couple categories left. 3 more to score. Let's see what we get. There it is. All right. The mystery factor. All right. Mystery factor. Obviously, we're talking about the mystery of the film and what we thought it was, you know, what it was able to accomplish. Steven, let's start with you this time. Let's reverse it for these last couple categories. What do you think of the mystery factor and what's the score you want to give it?
The mystery factor, 2 things brought me to the theater. The first one was because I didn't know when I watched the very first trailer, I was just seeing how it was brilliantly done. How you were seeing the costume, you were seeing Ghostface, you were seeing images of the characters, and I can't remember the verbiage of the trailer, so don't hold me to this. But basically, it was something like, you know, someone's taking their love of horror movies one step too far, and you're seeing all the images of the people and in Ghostface, and then it's like everyone is a suspect, basically. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then the cherry on top was from the master of suspense, Wes Craven. I said, oh my gosh, shut down everything you're doing. When is the next showing? I had to go after work the next day. It was always too late to go that night. And mixing. I said, Wes is doing a whodunit mystery.
Mhm.
This can't be any better scenario. So I felt the mystery was great. It kept me guessing. I loved that Billy Loomis was the obvious killer, and
Mhm.
they were showing us, here, look, it's this guy throughout the whole movie. It's him.
Mhm.
But I'm like, well, it can't be him, because what were we learned about whodunits? It can never be someone who's too obvious.
Right.
That's the first rule. And
Mhm.
so that was working in my brain. Well, it can't be Billy because he's too obvious.
Yep.
But they kept on making it where it's so clear. And then we get the Billy fake out. My mind at that point was eggs and toast. I mean, eggs and bacon on a skillet. It was fried. I didn't know what to think anymore. So it was an experience I've never had in another movie. So
Mhm.
for me, the mystery factor was fantastic. At that point I was saying, maybe it is her dad. Maybe her dad did snap. And he's,
Yep.
I was about to give up on guessing, and then
Mhm.
Billy's alive. Bam. We already talked about it. Stu. Yeah. For me, the mystery factor here, I'm giving it a 5, because if you can shock me not once, but twice,
Mhm.
and kill suspects that I'm thinking about, that's 3 things. So to me, that's a winner. That's a 5.
All right. Okay. Eric, what are you thinking?
Yeah, the mystery factor is easily a 5. Pretty much with like a lot of things Steven said and what we've already said in the reveal, keeping it 2 killers really amps up the mystery. How is
Mhm.
this getting done, type of thing. And again, like what Steven said, it's obvious, in a rewatch that it's Billy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Scream did, in my opinion, they did it in the second one too with his mother. It's obvious Laurie Metcalf is the killer, but they do such a good with fake outs and stuff like that. They did a great job here. And again, with the whole faking Billy's death in the
Mm.
bedroom. Okay, well,
Yeah.
it's who then your gears are turning in your head. Okay, well, who's left?
Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
Is it Gail doing this to try to get a story? Is it Randy trying to recreate a horror movie because he's obsessed with this stuff? And
Yep.
people, when they're obsessed like that, they might want to do it. Or is it someone that we've never seen? Or
Right.
like the dad just happens to be gone, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
coincidence. So keeping it a secret was really well done. The 2 killers was really well done, and it didn't seem hokey. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
That's the problem. Like
Didn't.
when the mystery is solved, because that can destroy a mystery for me. When you get the
Mhm.
reveal or the reasoning, and if it's something air quotes stupid, it loses a lot of the magic, and you don't
Right.
really care.
Mhm.
This kept
Mhm.
that magic because of the reasoning and who it ended up being and stuff like that. So for this one, it was a home run for me, keeping the mystery 5.
All right. Yeah, and well said too, because like you said, you got to stick the landing on the
Yeah.
mystery, man. Like
Mhm.
if that falls, then your whole perception of the film for a lot of people
Hmm.
really changes. And of course, there's been a couple sequels, even in this franchise, where that has happened, where it's
Hmm.
like, that crack in the armor, makes you look at the movie in a certain way.
And it affects
Um,
rewatchability too. You know what I mean?
yes,
It does. If
yes.
if you're
True.
invested in a murder mystery, or let's just say for a lesser extent, like something like The Sixth Sense, that ending has to land, and
Yes.
then you want to rewatch and put the little puzzle pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
If it
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
ends up sucking, you don't care. You don't want to go back to the movie because you're like, wow, I invested an hour and 40 minutes, and the last 10 minutes are garbage. I don't care
Right.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
That's
yeah,
It,
you
true.
have to hit it.
yeah, and the thing of it also is that, so in other words, the rewatch, like you just said, the rewatchability hangs in the balance, because
Hmm.
if the mystery and the reveal don't work, so it's like all these things it's all dominoes,
Hmm.
which of course again goes to the point of why this film is so iconic, because there's so many cylinders that it was operating on and executing well, so very cool stuff. I won't belabor this. The mystery is a 5 for me. I got to go with a 5 for the mystery factor. I just think, like you guys said, it just worked. You're just wondering, who could
Mhm.
it be? And like I said, Stu is I just wasn't even thinking about Stu. You know,
I
Stu's
didn't
like
either.
happy-go-lucky Stu. You know, the bro, and it's just so good the way they pulled this thing off. And like I said, with that fake out of Billy, I know for me, anyways, my mind is just going back and forth because I'm like, wait a minute, oh no, he just got killed, and I'm
Yes.
thinking, who, and I'm not. I mean, I'm watching it, but the things are happening so quick. Next thing you know, boom, he comes back. It's like, oh crap. And I'm on these highs. You know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like a roller coaster that's having multiple drops, like second after second after second. And then Stu is so far from my mind. And when that happens, it's like, who would have thought it was two? So they did such a great job with the mystery. They really, really did. So I gotta go with a 5 as well. All right. King Matthews in the house. What's up, Night Watch? How are you doing tonight? We're doing good.
Hey.
We're doing good, man. Thank you for being here. Hope you're enjoying this. Kelly is going with a 5. All right. Oliver is going with a 5. Okay, we got some 5s. King Matthews going with a 5. Johnny's going with a 5. Paula's going with a 5. Very cool. And we also have, let's see, we've got another super chat. Let me just jump up here real quick and see what we got. I believe it's Johnny coming in again, $2 super chat. Rest in peace to Wes. Absolutely. Great to hang with you guys on his anniversary. Absolutely. A big rest in peace to the master himself. And I know, you know, Eric and Steven obviously feel similarly. You know, growing up at the time that we did, we were lucky guys. We were, I talk about this with my brother so often. You know, even now, even as a content creator, I just think to myself, man, we were right there. We were right in the thick of it. And it's just so cool to have been kind of a part of that. I know we weren't like there beside any of these great artists and filmmakers, but you know, just being a part of the fandom that was right there. You know what I'm saying? So,
And for many of those, you know, in our age bracket, we're all, I think, fairly close. Maybe, I think, maybe, yeah, fairly. I'll say that fairly close. We got to watch close enough, Eric. There you go, buddy. We can look at these movies differently in a lot of ways because we were in the theaters when they dropped. Like so many people are looking back retro who are now watching Nightmare for the first time and Scream for the first time and so on and so forth, you know, Wes's films. But it was amazing that we all got to experience it, like you said, Night, when it was happening, when Wes was writing and directing, these movies were coming out, and it's it's just different when you're actually in that moment, you know, versus going back and watching the movie. It could be still just as great in some ways, but there's nothing like being there.
That's right.
The original thing.
It was a different time, man. I mean, you guys know, you know, like you said, we're around the same age. And if you didn't see it in the theaters, you had great promotion, whether it was going to a video store. You know what I mean? Or you guys remember the pay-per-view channel. You know what I mean? They would show little mini trailers and it would pump you up and be like, okay, you know, I want to see People Under the Stairs now because of the way the pay-per-view channel promoted it and spliced everything up and stuff like that. And it was a good way just to, you know, it sounds weird, you know, saying, you know, sit down with your family and watch People Under the Stairs on a Saturday night, you know, at that age. But my mom was a horror nut, so it worked for that situation. But the way we were shown the product is a lot different than the way my daughter at 13 is shown the product. You know what I mean? All she needs to do is plop on the couch and go through, you know, the feed. And all she gets to see, honestly, is the poster.
Yes.
We grew up with the trailers. We grew up with commercials. Remember commercials when there was television?
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And home video. Every time you rented, well, you still get it with some DVDs and Blu-rays, but you always had 5 minutes of previews before you know you had your movie. And on a VCR, you couldn't skip them. You know, you had to fast forward, but you still got to see it. So it's just the way the promotion was when we were growing up.
It's true.
You know, it's like this. You know, example. I was never really into Halloween, the franchise, as a kid, but the way the trailer for like Halloween H2O and the promotion, like on ETV, you know, E News Television, you know, whatever that channel was, and again, going to the theater and seeing it promoted in front of this movie or renting a home video, and there's the trailer right before I get to on the VHS, right before I get to my feature. It's a lot different than the way kids have it nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, there was a connection that we had, and I think it was a stronger connection because there was just, I don't know if it's more emotion, but there was more conversation, amongst, like you said, family and friends and so forth. Sometimes we would talk to people in the video stores, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
casual conversation and stuff like that. And kids now, young folks and kids now, they don't have that. Like you said, Eric, all they've got is when they click on, their Roku or whatever, they see an image. They might have seen a trailer or whatever, and that's fine, but that's their connection to it. There's no hype. We don't have a Loomis to hype up the movie. It's and it's kind of in a way sad. I don't want to rant too much about this, but I do want to say this because I think it's so true. It's kind of like a movie can be made or broken by social media, because if social media hypes it up, especially for young people, I'm talking about, teenagers and so forth and younger. If social media hypes up a movie, boom, they're ready to go see it. If there's anything about the movie that can be put in a meme or made fun of, all of a sudden it's not cool. You know what I'm saying? And when we were growing up, it was just different. If we saw the trailer or saw the bit on Entertainment Tonight or saw it on the cover Entertainment Weekly or whatever, we were already like kind of keyed in if it appealed to us, you know what I'm saying? Whether as an actor or director or whatever. So it's totally different now. Good case in point. My youngest, actually both of them, had never seen Longlegs. I think I told this story, but there were a lot of memes about, Nicolas Cage and his performance. And I get it, it's like he was a zany, wacky character. So we'd already seen it in the theater, Coriander and I, so we were like, we loved it. And we were at home one night. We said, let's just watch it. We were speaking to the youngest. No. So we got her to watch it. Guess what, guys? When you can sit down for almost 2 hours and pay attention and not be on TikTok, you might enjoy something.
Exactly. Right.
Loved it.
Yeah.
She loved it. Do you know we still joke about it with her to this day? This was like months ago. But it just goes to show how, movies are absorbed by today's audiences. So it's just different.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things going to the video store was the employee picks. Why does this employee like 5 movies? You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's
stuff
right.
like that. It's a lot better than social media now, because now people are, review bombing movies before they even come out.
I know,
So
it's sickening.
that's why I don't. If I want to see a movie, I'm going to see it regardless. If I don't want to see a movie, I'm not going to see it, type of thing. But the fact that you're actually reviewing it and giving it a thumbs down before seeing it, that's just uncalled for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See the movie first, then trash it if you don't like it. But
Right. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And real quick too, in the chat, saying hey to Troy, who popped in for a quick hello, and thanked whoever gifted him the membership. Absolutely. And hope you get a chance to watch the replay, man. This was a fun one, but thank you for being here. Samantha was also asking about the stickers, and Samantha, we've got a whole bunch of them, the emojis and so forth. And you're able to do that because you're a channel member. So enjoy them. I see a couple in the chat. Much appreciated, Oliver, for doing that. I love seeing you guys having some fun with that. And we're also going to have some fun with the fact that Oliver came in with a super chat. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. Saying, we Generation X folks grew up with watching the best in each sport and movies. Wes Craven, you are the best at what you did. Rest in peace. Absolutely, man.
Yep.
No doubt at all. No doubt at all. Okay, guys, let's see what we have for our next category. We're almost there. We've got two more.
Our final 2.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, get there, please.
There it is.
Yo, beautiful. I'm so glad.
Hey,
On
listen,
his birthday weekend that we get to
That-
talk about this man.
that's right. I'm gonna jump. Actually, no. Yeah, I'm gonna jump 5. So
Go for it.
Steve,
Do it.
no, I'm just saying I'm going 5. I don't need I mean,
There's
I probably will rant afterwards, you know, because I get emotional about that type of stuff, as
I
you
do
guys
too,
know.
bro.
But Wes was just he was amazing. So I'm just gonna go with a 5 because you don't even really need to say anything. But Steven, how about you,
Right.
bro?
Yeah.
I know, man. I know. We were there though. We were there.
This man touched me in a lot of ways through his films, and reached me in a way that none other had. And there was some connection that I felt in his movies, even his dark movies. There was always a sense of love somewhere in it,
Mm,
a sense of really, really. What am I trying to say? Basically, it wasn't like someone just getting a script and throwing out a slasher movie. It
mhm.
almost felt like to me, even though he faced so many production studio interferences with so many of his films, and it drives me nuts that that happened for him. Despite all those studio interferences, he managed to make films that, to me, connected in many ways at the heart as well as the head,
Mhm.
you know, and he always tried to tell a story outside the story, you
That's
know,
true. Very true.
and he would try to tell stories that meant something in real life. And I could give you examples. You know, you look at Deadly Friend and Wes's side story, if you were paying attention,
Mhm.
was child abuse and neglect of kids. And you go to People Under the Stairs and the racist injustice in social class status. There's stories, but he never did it in a way that he was preachy. It
Right.
was always subtle, and you know, he always made the big story the big story, right? Like that's
Mhm.
what the movie is. But he always found a way to subtly say something more than just the story.
Yep.
And I didn't find that in very many filmmakers. And at the time, you know, and I'm that's not a knock. It's just the way I felt. And I love that he was, you know, so I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay, man.
Having gotten to meet so many people now that have worked with him, both actors that have worked on the set of Scream 3 and Scream, as well as interviewing all of these amazing stunt people that were ghost faces and all of you guys know my channel. And what's amazing is that it has only increased my respect and
Mhm.
love for this man because of all they've shared that they don't know, you know, no one knows these stories.
Right.
Stories they told from being on set with him and how all HE double hockey sticks can be breaking loose right now. And he stayed calm. He stayed in control and he kept everyone's spirits in the right mode. He never blew up at people. He never yelled at people. He was someone that was, what did he tell Jamie Kennedy? He said, just because so we're making a horror movie,
Right.
it doesn't have to be horrific.
Right.
And he was so conscious of his crew, having guys go for 20 years with him, the
Mhm.
same crew, making these movies over and over together. The loyalty he showed, the compassion he showed. When Lynn McCree in Scream 3 came out to set and sat in his chair accidentally, and Wes walked over, and you know what he did? He just sat down at the next chair. He didn't even say a word. And when she
Mhm.
looked and saw her, it was Wes Craven, director. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And he was like, it's no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of man he was, man.
Yep.
And I will forever miss him. I will forever honor his films and his legacy on my channel. And for every chance I get, I'm going to do nothing but praise this man that I never got the pleasure to meet. But I've got to meet him through everyone that has met him and has worked with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that connection to Wes more than I ever have but now. So it's clearly a 5. And I'll just leave it there. I've gone very long, but
That's
that's
okay.
just how I feel, man. It's just my feelings.
I hear you. No, he was beyond amazing. There's no doubt about that. Well said, man. Well said. Eric, how about you, man? What are your thoughts?
Wow, I gotta follow that up. Great. Speaking of just the directing, I'll keep it short and sweet. Just the directing of this film,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5. It's only because of nitpicks, and I will say this: I do wish you could have gotten some people in their performances and tone it down a little bit, because in the end, it's his call,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just personal taste. I've already said I wish Matthew Lillard, he was at 11 during the finale. I wish he turned it down to maybe an 8. You know what I mean? And that would have been Wes's call. So I'll give him a 4.5 though.
All right. Okay. And Jen also came in with a super chat. Thank you so much, Jen. We appreciate that. That definitely helps us out. Saying $5 for 5 for direction. There you go. I like that. Thank you, Jen. We appreciate you. Let's do a super chat clip real quick, and definitely thanking you guys for the support and the kindness. It really makes a difference to us. And that's right, Steve. Their perspective, there's no doubt about that. No doubt. So let's do a quick clip. And Eric, in times like this, I can think of, well, a couple of people, but right now I'm thinking of one person that can truly give us everything we need. And this is who he is.
When you find yourself at 1 a.m. in the morning with your hand in the air and a horse's ass in front of your face, that's when you know it's bad.
That's when you know it's
definitely
bad. All right. All right. Very cool. But yeah,
I love how he's now a big time horror director.
Isn't
You
that
see where
great?
he came from comedy.
I know.
It is so
It's nuts.
I mean, and you know what's cool about it too, guys? I try not to rant too much, but what's also very cool about it is we're also kind of in an era of witnessing some great things like a Jordan Peele. I watched Key and Peele for years.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And then to see him start his journey as a horror director and kind of thinking, oh, let's see what he does. Oh man, this Get Out is pretty damn good. This is crazy. And to see him, continue this journey, and it trickles down to other people that he has worked with and helped and produced and all that. It's really cool to see. Same thing with James Wan. I mean, we're right there, guys, especially as content creators, because I think we go even deeper, into a lot of these things, at least through conversation for sure. So it's cool to still be like able to see some really cool things that can become legendary. And just like with Wes.
Whenever I need a laugh, I will go to that Key and Peele skit where they're talking about the pitch meeting for like Gremlins 2. And Jordan Peele walks in and he's just so over the top with the blonde hair, and he's basically Hollywood from Mannequin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun, how it is. And then you see he's now a very serious horror writer and director, and I think he's very good with his social commentary because it doesn't beat you over the head. You know what I mean? It gets its message across subtly, like it should be, and that's my opinion. And it's great to see when people go from one genre to another and they succeed.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie, seeing some of the skits from Key and Peele, I would never have picked Jordan Peele to be a successful horror writer and director.
That's right. And it just gives
you like with Danny McBride, he still throws in his little Danny McBride isms, and you can tell. I don't get that from Jordan in his movies. You know what I mean? I
No.
see Jordan separating it, and I
Yep.
appreciate that. So,
Yep. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Oliver is saying, now you're getting to my heart by saying James Wan. That's right. That's
Yep.
right. He's fantastic. Samantha saying, hi, Night. Hi, Craven. Hey, how's it going, Samantha? Hope
Hey
that you
there.
are enjoying tonight. And thank you for being here, by the way, Samantha. Super Tenor is coming in. He went with a 5 for directing. Okay. Well, let's see what our last category, scored
Boy.
category that is, will be. What was that, Stephen?
I said, oh boy, I'm on pins and needles here, man.
I know. There's a couple of possibilities. Let's see what we get.
Mm-hmm.
This might be one of the first times that we don't do a worst or best scene. Oh my gosh.
Yep, that's
Look at that.
it. Oh my
Opening
gosh.
scene. All right. Wow. So I think this might be one of the first times we haven't done a best or worst scene discussion. So opening scene is the last category, the 10th category. Stephen, what is the score you want to give for the opening scene of Scream?
It's 5. Let me tell you, and there's so many reasons. I won't give them all because you guys probably have some in common with you too. But to walk into the theater and you see completely blind, other than that trailer, which did not reveal. That's back when they didn't reveal the whole movie in trailers back in the day. So I have no idea what to come about to happen. Here's Drew Barrymore, this very, very, very well-known actress, horror too, especially, but even outside of horror. And this movie, it starts off kicking you in the throat. Like there's, a lot of times these movies will build up. Like this would happen 30 minutes into the movie.
Right.
They'll lay out the characters first, and then we have a murder. I was not expecting what I watched unfold on that screen. And from the phone call was menacing Roger L. Jackson again. He gets a 5 out of 5, even though it's not counting towards this, that he was amazing. But the way it unfolds innocently, she's flirty with him a little bit. And, maybe likes the sound of his voice or whatever. She gets a little flirtatious. And then to see that turn when the moment he says, because I want to know who I'm looking at. Oh, I got chills at that moment. And I said, so we're about to get into it right now. And I was not ready for that. And of course we do in amazing fashion. And when you watch it the first time, there's things like Eric said, you don't pick up on it to the second watch, but like watching it the first time, I'm not noticing that the voice is not making any winces or out of breath or anything like that when you're killing Stephen Orth. And I didn't see that's a clue right there that there's 2 people, but I'm not even thinking about that. I'm not processing that. And so anyway, the opening scene is, to say iconic almost feels cliche, but it's true. It is, unexpected, shocking. You could almost say it's the same thing. And the way Wes did this in the writing with Kevin, how her parents, you're pulling for this poor girl to live like we all would be in that situation if it was us. And here's her parents, and she can't talk because she was strangled around the throat. She's mom, she's trying to get her voice. It's heartbreaking. And then her mom hears her on the phone, another heartbreaking moment. And then she's like, no, not my daughter. Please, not my daughter. And then, of course, we know what happens when she goes outside. She screams. Just amazing. It's such a brutal kill. It's so mean. It's vicious. It is with brutal intent, all the way to gutting her and putting on her tree, bro. This is not a casual slash. This is with a mission and anger and rage in this kill. So I'll stop there. 5 out of 5. I think it's one of the best openings I've ever seen in a horror movie. Period.
All right. Okay, Eric, how about you, man?
Yeah, this is an easy 5. All the stuff Steven said, but again, it's also very good with his jump scares, because you have the
Mhm.
tension really well because you're focusing on the phone conversation, and then the lawn chair goes through the door or the window, you know what I mean? So that gets you.
Mhm.
And again, first time I saw it, I didn't see it until home video the following year, but I'm watching it, and the scene where she's going through all the questions, and it was a really good moment where you're getting behind her when she fails the Friday the 13th question. And you yourself, I guarantee you guys have failed it too initially, because you're all pumped up and you've seen all the freaking Friday the 13th movies, and then you just
Yeah.
in the spur of the moment she
Mhm.
says Jason, and then he says you're wrong, and were you yelling with her? No. And then it made sense. You're
Mhm.
right. The first one he wasn't even in the first film.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So you're caught up in that moment, and that's good directing and writing, good performances. And if you think about it, it's really good performance with Drew Barrymore, because she is being fed the lines by Wes because she can't hear what's being told on the phone, so she's reacting to him. And then the way they splice the Ghostface voice with her reaction was just perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
And you got poor
Yeah.
Steve out. You got poor Steve outside, but we still didn't forget about him. We focused on him a
Yeah.
little bit and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So it was just really well done.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
doubt at all. Well said, man. I think that it's just so obviously okay. I'm gonna go with a 5, so I'm just I'm just gonna say it now. It's just so well done, man. And again, multiple elements are going on. Drew Barrymore is such a charismatic actress. You know what I mean? She's bubbly, has that personality. So to put her in this type of scenario was great. Um, and even had a little fun in moments, poking fun at the Elm Street franchise after the
Yes.
original. You gotta love this. This is great stuff, and you're kind of having fun with it, because who doesn't like quizzes or trivia, right? So
Right.
it's all a good setup, and Roger was masterful. Just his voice, the intense, how he was able to go from intense to playful to flirty to this and that. It's just so well done. It is so well done, and as far as those scenarios where you're on the phone with a killer, going all the way back to things like Black Christmas, I mean, this took it to a different stratosphere, I mean, actual conversation that is fluid and continuing to go, and it's taking you on the ride, even though you're also going on a ride because of what Casey is going through. So it's masterful, it's great, and it's iconic for a reason. So, like I said, I'm going with a 5. All right,
All right.
guys, that was our 10 categories. Super Tenor is also going with a 5. So many people in the chat are going with a 5. Barb saying 5 out of 5. Iconic because no one expected a big star to get killed off right away. Exactly. When I was watching this, not to rant more, but I love Drew Barrymore, first of all. And I have since I was a little kid, and she was a little kid. And seeing her in this movie, I was just like, I was all like, yes, this is so cool. And I loved her character, and how she came across. But when she got killed, I was like, are you serious? What? What are we doing? You can't kill Drew Barrymore. Who does this? So it was just masterfully done. It truly was. So we've gone through our 10 categories, guys. We've got the scores. Just to recap it for those who might have come in a little late, we did the categories of Ghostface, the it factor, the characters, the reveal, the motive, the final girl, the story, the mystery, the directing, and of course, the opening scene. This is going to be so cool when I put these scores together, and at some point, hopefully soon, we'll have a reveal stream of the franchise ranked by scores, the scores that have been given in these streams. So if you have not seen the other episodes where we ranked all the other Scream films, check them out. We definitely would appreciate that. It helps the channel anytime we get some folks looking back at our content. And we have the playlist for the great movie debates. And when we do the reveal, it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of see where these movies land. And I don't know whether it's going to be tough. We were speaking about it backstage before we went live. there's some serious competition in this. There really is, and some surprises, some big surprises. So we can't wait to do that. You know what else is a big surprise? We got Jen coming in with a $10 super chat, guys.
Hey, all
Thank
right.
you. Thank you so much. And she's saying, I know this wasn't a category, but I have to give editing a 3 since it wasn't caught that Tatum called Stephen Forrest and not Orth. Whoa, geez.
Uh,
There you
that's
go, Jen.
funny.
Thank you so much. Oh, she's awesome. Thank you so much, Jen.
Well,
We
she's
appreciate
not
the
good with
support.
names. Remember, she also says Wes Carpenter, so maybe that's
Wes
just
Carpenter.
That's
There you go.
true.
That's right, Eric. Yes.
Oh.
Wes Carpenter. That was great. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Well, look, for everyone that is here, we hope that you guys enjoyed this discussion. This was a lot of fun. We saw a lot of the scores. We couldn't get to everyone's, but feel free to leave them in the comments. We can continue the conversation there and see what other people think about these categories. We'd appreciate that. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. And also, if you haven't subscribed to Steven or Eric's channel, make sure you guys do that. We've got the links all over the place on this channel because these are our brothers. They really are. And you won't be disappointed if you spend some time on their channel. A lot of great stuff. And I highly urge and beg you to do so. All
Thank you,
right.
buddy.
Absolutely, man. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. I will catch you guys backstage
Okay.
before we sign off. And again, everyone here, thank you so much for being here. Thank you as well, Oliver, thanking us. I'm glad you enjoyed this and was able to be here. And as always, again, like Eric and Steven said earlier, rest in peace to Wes Craven.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to be able to still enjoy their work and through their work, their spirit, and like you were saying, Steven, a kindness was always there. And when you said it really made me think, because that's so true, in all of his movies, there was always this light in the darkness, in the tunnel.
Wes always had a warmth to him when he talked. You and I have talked about Wes before, and when it came to interviews, he's the type of guy that I would sit down and just listen to an interview. He has that voice. You know what I mean? He's got a warmth behind it. He's got an intelligence behind it.
Yeah.
But he's still got his dark side. And you know what? He's at times he's like a little kid. He's very mischievous. And that's what I like about him, because when he's talking about, this thing and that thing, and then he brings it back to horror, and then he talks about, sometimes we just like to be scared by the boogeyman. And then he has that little smirk on his face.
Yeah.
That's what I like about Wes. He is this. He wasn't too old when he passed, so I don't want to be mean when I say he's like that lovable grandpa. But he's old. He was older than all of us, but he did have that.
76. Yeah.
He did have that warmth to him that you just wanted to, hang out with him, give him a hug, have a beer or a coffee or something. He's the one you wanted to hear stories from. He's like a Burgess Meredith. He had that perfect narration voice.
Yeah.
Or like Sam Elliott. He had that perfect voice. Morgan Freeman, and he just seemed like a really cool dude. He's one of those guys that, to me, again, just me, some of his movies are hit and miss. You know what I mean? But I respect the man enough and love the man enough as a person that I would always at least give those movies that I didn't like a second shot. You know what I mean? Because that's one thing that you never really hear a bad word about Wes. Some people will say, John Carpenter, he's just the grumpy old man now. You know what I mean? He's got that persona. Some people come off this way. Some people come off that way. You never really heard anything negative about Wes. Like you said, Steven, even on a bad day, if things went to hell, he'd just be like, all right, well, let's try to fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something I could respect, because if you're a jerk director, that affects your crew.
Right.
No one wants to be there. No one's going to give a good performance on camera if you just got some a-hole yelling at you. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So, and that's one thing. Again, going back to his voice, he just had this calming voice, this calming persona, and that's where a lot of my respect came to him, just as a person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely. No doubt at all, man.
Yeah.
Totally agree with you. Cool, man.
Yes.
Well, guys, this was a lot of fun. And again, for you guys in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will definitely be catching you guys soon. Take care of each other. And as always, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Bye, guys.